Yep. A little bit more your way. There we go. You hit this. Nobody's on there yet. Everybody's watching the playoffs.
Hockey?
Huh? Hockey playoffs, I guess, yeah. Still hasn't come up yet. Hello, there's people out there. We already got 3 thumbs up. Awesome. Howdy. As usual, you're going to find that tonight it's raining again. So we were actually going to try to do a video today, and then it's rained. It rained all last night. It's raining all day today. So we thought we'd do this instead. So at least we stay in contact with everybody and trying to get things coming up. Hopefully everybody's had a pretty good week so far. It's been pretty rough for us. It was really hot here, and one of the air conditioners, they have 2 air conditioners in the cafe, and of course one of them isn't working, so it barely worked with 2, and now it doesn't work at all with 1, and it's been in the 90s, which is quite unusual here.
Hell yeah.
And so, to say the least, we were suffering big time. So, I don't know why. How'd you get it? How'd you get the live feed? I can't get it on here again.
Go to. I don't know how you do it on yours.
Day off chat. That was last time. Just looking for us on here, so if we can read questions if you have any. I don't know if anyone has any new questions. I'd like to put out there that, you know, if Economic Refugees now has a group on Facebook, and you can always go there. I've been kind of posting motorhomes of the day. I just kind of cruise around, look and see if there's anything that looks interesting or something that might work for a full timer and the price might be right and stuff like that. So if you get a chance, take a look at that. Also, I've been kind of putting up some questions, and other people have kind of been giving their input. Nice if some other people came up with some questions, because I'm running out of questions. I have more answers than I do questions, as you can probably tell. I can't find it.
Okay.
I don't know where it is.
Up and personal. Up close and personal. Let's see.
Well, my channel? Is that what you want?
Maybe.
It's not a touch screen. Maybe? Nope. Anyway, so other than that, and unfortunately we have awesome ice cream in the cafe, so I've been eating too much of that.
I've had tremendous restraint. Yeah. For ice cream.
Yeah, that's true.
I've had about a whole cup. Is it?
Yeah.
Me.
Yeah. Well, I'm telling you, it takes a long time for the live stream to come up, doesn't it?
Okay, I'm looking for the Facebook link for someone, Jen Lynn, who's asking. You want the group or the Facebook?
Anyway, oh, there we go. Found it. Man, it takes a long time for it.
And if you hadn't noticed, we're not real savvy on the electronic stuff.
Yeah, our little...
we're learning, doing our best, and we'll get that.
I don't know if we're learning. We're more like we're doing our best.
We're entertaining anyway.
We're like trying to do this stupid thing. We did it twice, and the second time was as bad as the first one. She goes, "Oh, we're just going to leave that on there." So that's what we did. So I'm finally going to be able to read questions. Oh, hi, Mom. Hi, Dad. Hi, Leah. Can you type your email?
I did that.
Okay. Greetings from the Oregon coast where it's dry and cool. Yeah.
I did that.
Okay. Oops, got to kill the volume. From the Oregon coast where it's dry and cool. All right. Got that under control. This is what it was like when they sent up Apollo 11. Okay, or Apollo 13, probably. Anyway, let's see. Yay, Facebook. Thanks, Facebook group link. Can't say the same for your grandson. Okay. Oh, is he sick, huh? He's sick. Our grandson must be sick. What is a typical day at your camp group? Well,
Excuse me, but I just posted the link to the Facebook group.
a typical day. Well, for us, our typical day here is just. I wonder if are you talking about on Facebook, or are you talking about what we're doing here in the campground? Run that typical day at your campground job. Okay. Well, right now it's not typical at all, because for a while we were on pine cone duty, and that was tough. We finally got over that, and then we were on pine needle duty, and we finally got off of that. So and then
we were on stick duty.
Stick duty. We did sticks. There's all kinds of activities you can do.
Because there's so many tall pines here during the wintertime with all the snow and the weather and stuff.
Are we rolling?
Yeah, I don't know. We had a lot of pine cones, needles, and sticks that break off the trees, and it makes the campground look really messy, so we just had to tidy it up before Memorial Day weekend. So
yeah, we normally our day would be sleep in, get up, take a long shower, and have a nice breakfast, and then have a big lunch, and then go to work around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and work till run the store and just make pizzas and hamburgers and ice creams and malts and banana splits and all kinds of stuff like that. And then at 9 o'clock we close the restaurant and we're back. Anyway, starts counting the money, and then I sweep and mop and get the restaurant ready for the day crew. Look at we're stock.
You guys seeing us okay, or have we lost connectivity?
Sorry, can't edit. What's that? You guys got us? The weather is less than
really bad.
Perfect here right now. Are we getting any feedback at all? You guys still here?
What does it say at top? How many we have?
It says 18.
Okay.
Can you guys hear us? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Good.
Thanks.
Isn't that Trey? No. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
So we do want to interview guests, but honestly, it's just been so crazy here for scheduling and stuff, and trying to get any days off. We actually had to finesse a day off today just so we could get our laundry caught up, groceries done, and a couple other things we had to get done. But that is ultimately what we want to do, is interview some couples that full-time RV that work jobs like this, like we do, and kind of show you the campground a little bit. On our Facebook group or page, we did post pictures. I can't remember which one it was to. I was hoping that I did both. Maybe not. Anyway, but there are some pictures and a little video of Bill scribbling off the
Yeah, that was on there. There was a video on there. Like I say, the problem has been is either we're working, and the other day I filmed the owner and his wife twice, and both times when I went back to look at it, it wasn't. I got like 10 seconds of it, and then it just shut off. So I don't know. It's my phone, what we're watching right now. Anyway, we're trying to figure out how to take our Canon and hook it up somehow so we can have that, and I don't know, maybe work on this internet connection a little better. At least you guys can hear us fine. That's what I'm seeing. You just can't see us. That's probably not a bad thing.
I wonder if this is buffering a lot too. Is it? Because it seems to be for me on my phone.
I don't know whether we're even receiving anything here.
Maybe fine video is kind of wonky, but okay. Speedy says yes.
Okay.
Not good video. Yeah.
I'm sorry, you guys.
Connection is chopped.
The problem is we got lightning and thunder and heavy clouds and rain and hail. And hail's small, so thank God for that. But we got our awning out and out both sides and everything. So anyway, yeah. So our day, usually it's pretty casual, but we've really been, it's been really rough with the heat and not having air. And I know the owner's really, he's trying to get things handled, but you know, of course, when it's hot, the companies are real busy. When it's cool, they don't need the air conditioning. So it's kind of one of those catch.
When it's raining and your roof leaks,
Yeah.
you need to repair your roof. But when it's not raining,
It doesn't need to be
you forget
repaired.
about it because it doesn't need to be.
So that's
fixed.
been kind of a tough deal, but
It's not leaking.
yeah, we're hopefully that's going to be resolved here real shortly, and we want to do a bunch of videos around here. Speedy
it's a
started
really-
working in
really
Tahoe.
pretty area.
Speedy started working in Tahoe.
Yay!
So I have a godson up there in Tahoe that lives there, and yeah, I'd like to get there to see them.
It's pretty in Tahoe too.
Yeah, beautiful Tahoe. That the color of that lake, that like almost green, aqua green or whatever it is really really pretty. But anyone out there have anything exciting to tell us? Other than we see that Speedy's working. Fallen Leaf Campground.
That's the name of it. What are you doing there? Oh, the campground that we're at is Hayward KOA Holiday.
Yeah, in Hayward, Wisconsin.
Right. Relief host.
Yeah.
So, what happened to the host that was there, or are you just relieving when he's got days off?
We're waiting for them to answer.
I know.
That's the way it should be. They should have like two-way conversation. I'm trying not to, because I get these responses from some of the ladies. Let Darla talk once in a while, or I guess some of the guys do too. But anyway,
Is it?
when the other 4 hosts have days off,
Okay. So, you're not working too many hours, I don't guess.
probably need to be watching Facebook, because they're putting stuff on there too, questions and stuff.
Okay.
Yep.
40
yeah.
per week? Wow.
What? Hours?
It's a large campground. He's working 40 hours per week.
Yeah. We don't get quite that many hours here. That's part of the reason why we take this job. Is we're kind of looking to spend a little more time just relaxing during the summer months, for because sugar beets, man, that's a killer. I mean, 14 hours a day, 7 days a week until it's done. That's a killer. And then Christmas trees is just, it's kind of a nutty thing. It's not really for us. It's not physical, but it's mental. And dealing with some of the situations we have to deal with can be a little tough. You know, especially in California, because now we have to deal with people can legally get stoned, and they think they can drink and get stoned and come to work and act like an idiot with little kids and families. And this year I'm not even going to play around with them. I mean, I tried to give them multiple choices, chances last year. And
Well, last year it wasn't even legal and
Yeah.
they were high.
well, no, it was
Was
legal.
it last
Yeah.
year?
But the
was
problem
crazy,
with it
though.
was they were, I told them, in the beginning, you guys can get stoned all you want, just don't do it when you're here. And there were a couple of guys that just could not control themselves, and they were just acting like fools in front of the customers. So anyway, they're gone and they won't be back. So let's see, I am at a road trek in New Braunfels, Texas. Yeah,
Braunfels.
New Braunfels. Dealing with the heat, taking care of storage and vehicles to sell in storage, so I can be true full time. Can't wait to get to Colorado and out of the heat. I don't blame you. Texas this time of year is screaming hot. There's no doubt about it, and it's humid and a lot of bugs, and you got to be real careful of snakes and The worst thing, the way you know you'll get snakes is if you get mice. If you start getting mice in your rig, you got to get rid of those right away, because the snakes, if the mice can get in, then the snakes can get in. So you got to work on that. Waiting for the puck to drop. Too much. Hey, Pete. There he is.
Peter.
All right. Well, I wrote him. I said, we're going to miss him, but he's coming. Wait for the puck. So he's going to split us when it drops. But that's all right. At least you showed up. That's cool. Yep. Texas alligators. Where we were at, there weren't alligators. There were a lot of, like I say, a lot of snakes. A lot of bugs. And I mean, they have these little bugs that just touch you. And if you try to even swat them, they spray you with something that burns
blister
your
beetles is what they're called.
Burn your skin. It hurts like heck.
Bill actually still has a scar on his neck from the very first one. Or is it on your shoulder?
I don't know. I have one here.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway, so
it just like boils your skin, and of course you feel it, and so you go like this, and when you do that, your skin comes off.
Yeah, you get more of the gators over on the eastern side of the state. We were always right there on the Mexican border. But again, no notice from YouTube. We did put one out there, but it was today. Hi, Mikio. Yeah, we did put one out this afternoon because I didn't think we were going to do one today, but we were going to do a video and put it on tonight. And what happened is it's just no way to walk around with a camera in the rain and try to film anything.
And the mud puddles.
Yeah, so and to drive around here in the truck and do a video just would have been not fun. So anyway, we went over and had lunch today at McDonald's, and then went to Wally World, and then went to the post office and that kind of stuff. So today was this is our only day off this week. So I think next week we're going to have a short vacation too next week. We need another couple here. So
yeah, we keep telling you guys. Somebody
we
needs
need
to
one
come
more
work
couple.
here.
The owner told me last week, oh, we got it covered, but we're still short.
That one couple ended up not showing up, so that's what put us behind. So there's still an opening, at least one for another couple.
Video seems to be getting better, clearer, and less jerky.
Good.
It's because I'm not talking as much.
Actually, the rain let up.
Did it?
A little bit.
Yeah.
But
About every 2 minutes, my phone was going bing and telling me, yeah, big thunderstorm coming. And last night, man, it was crazy. It was crazy last night.
But I slept like a rock.
I did too. Yeah. Anyway,
it just keeps swirling around, like down the Gulf of Mexico and then up through Texas and then our way. I'm looking at the radar right now. It's like we're just like right in that path.
You have dark glasses on. Yeah, rub it in. But you know, the thing is usually it's real nice and cool here. So usually today it's actually, right now it's 67 degrees. So it's not bad. And the rain, usually it rains at night, and during the day it doesn't rain. But man, it was up in the 90s.
Hi from Woodbridge, Virginia.
Hello. Haha. Storm went through, finally coming in.
Where are you? David Davis.
We have 21 on, 16 thumbs up. So 5 people are not happy with us.
One of them's probably your daughter. Where's your son?
I don't know. Where are they?
I don't know. Detroit. Okay.
Yeah. The Moto City.
It used to be.
Yeah. Maybe. Let's see. I have a question about my road truck engine. It has been icon engine. Here, it's down here. It has been coming on after turning more than to have access to air conditioning. I have a question about engine icon coming on.
Engine lights on all the time. Should I take it in to get checked? What could be the cause? I saw YouTube videos that say okay as long as no message and no issues.
Right. I'll tell you what, a lot of times it is. This sounds ridiculous. In fact, my truck was running so bad, it was stalling and misfiring, and it was doing all kinds of stupid stuff. And the check engine light would come on. I'd fill it with gas and it'd start doing it. What it was is the vent on the gas cap was like plugged. So I just cost me $10, bought a new cap. It runs like a champ, doesn't stall anymore. Engine light doesn't come on. So a lot of times people take it to the shop and spend a ton of money having all this work done.
It's just a gas cap.
And you leave, and the check engine light comes on. You go back to the dealer, you put a gas cap on it. It costs $10 after you just spent $700 having everybody play with it. If you take it though to like an AutoZone or somewhere, they will read that computer and tell you what it is. So
which is what we tried to do, but
yeah, I pretty much knew it was a gas cap, and I was clearing the code every time it would set it. I would clear it. And we filled up with gas, and I said, well, I'm going to get a new gas cap. And I had the guy try to read. He says, oh, there's no codes. And I said, well, that's because I
cleared it already.
I cleared it already. Hi, Bill and Darla. What is your opinion of Tiffin Breeze, new or older units? Well, Tiffin makes a decent, they make a decent RV. Is it a diesel? Is the Breeze a diesel? I can't remember. I know the red is a diesel. I think the Breeze is a gas powered, isn't it? I need to know that. I think it's a gas powered. The problem that some of the Tiffins have is they were using a lot of Freightliner chassis, and they were using the Max Force engines with them. Now, the Freightliner chassis is a decent chassis. There's nothing wrong with them. They just don't, I don't think they're as beefy as the Spartan chassis. And all your high-end, your really high-end motorhomes are going to have the Spartan chassis. The thing is with the gas ones, you kind of, I'm a little leery of the big block Chevy. Every time I've owned something with a big block Chevy, and I have to rebuild it. So I like that Ford V10. I think you get a little better fuel economy, and they don't seem to have the breakdowns. The bad thing about them is it sounds like 1,000 drummers playing underneath their hoods. They're loud, but they seem to keep running. My daughter has one in her motorhome, and it runs good. This is not an error message, but engine light on all the time. Should I take it to get checked? What could it be the cause? I saw a YouTube video. It says as long as no message and no issues. Yeah, well, the check engine light is going to be emissions. That's what it is. If it's a yellow light, it's emissions. If it's a red light, then you don't want to drive it. I mean, if it's oil, if it says engine, and it's got a little oil can next to it, that's something you don't drive. Obviously, you're driving it with that light on. So it's just emission failure. So it could be a sensor. Like I say, it could be the gas cap. It could be something. It could be a little bing. And then it takes like 30 or 40 times of turning the ignition on and off to clear that code. The way you can clear the code is disconnect the ground cable on your battery and just let it sit there for about 5 minutes and then rehook it, and it will clear the code. But then you have to go on and reset your clock on your radio and everything else.
Your stations on your radio.
Yeah, everything gets changed. Boy, that thing is really locking up.
And then Trey Rogers, hello, had to watch as I run errands tonight.
Okay, so the Breeze is a diesel. And what diesel does it have in it?
Bye, Pete. Puck down.
Uh-oh.
Sorry.
See you later. Does it have the Max Force, or does it have a Cummins? Need to know that. And what year is it? Years, the manufacturer and date of the RV makes a big difference.
Depends on who owned it at the time, pretty much.
Well, I mean, there's certain years you got to be real careful with them. Now a lot of these new RVs, like the Holiday Ramblers and the Monacos and those, they're terrible. They're the new company that's building them. I mean, everything is plastic. It's a Cummins 6.7 pickup motors in there, and they're not like the older ones. They're not like the Monacos and the original when Harley Davidson owned Holiday Rambler and stuff. Whole different package, you know. I mean, the whole thing is different. People don't believe it. People go and spend close to $1 million on some of these motorhomes, and they take them off the lot, and they find out that they just wasted $1 million. I mean, it's their rigs can spend. Okay, a Cummins ISV 275. And what year?
I think he said. No, he didn't.
Yeah, I need to know what year it is. So,
I also, while we're waiting on that answer, want to know if you guys like when he does the deal of the day and he puts rigs out there that he feels like might be worthy of a look. Do you guys like that?
So it's a 2018. It's definitely the pickup motor, 275 horse, and I mean, like I say, Tiffin is still Tiffin. You know, Holiday Rambler, Monaco, Fleetwood, all those are all owned by Allied, and basically they bought the names up so they could make their little plastic RVs and sell them for a lot of money using Holiday Rambler name and stuff. But when you walk through them, you walk right into them, and you know, these little support walls and stuff they put in there, everything is so flimsy and real simulated leather, and everything is just, you know, it's just not the quality of the older rigs.
Well,
I mean,
got all the computer stuff too.
Yeah, and you got to put probably DEF in it. But if you want a brand new one, I mean, Tiffin is going to be good. Winnebago, some of their stuff's pretty good. I hear Country Coach is coming back out Winnebago bottom. I would just stay away from any of the Monaco, what Monaco used to own, which was Beaver and Monaco and Holiday Rambler and those things. They're just not with Safari. They're just making junk. And I don't know. I mean, they might get it better down the road. A lot of the, you know, the Forest River stuff, the Coachmans and stuff like that used to be really the bottom of the line. You bought a sport coach, and I mean, you get them cheap. You can get them for 150 grand, but they're worth 30 grand in 2 years. And people were kind of put out by that. But now the quality of them is coming up because there's, you know, this other company is producing all this other stuff, and it's not near the quality that the stuff used to be. Have you seen any good space saving hitch cargo units? Need more space. Looking at Como Creations and Stowaways Maxim. What do others use that is good for back van doors? You know, we used to have one of those we used to have a little carrier deal. The thing with those is, my suggestion with those is to get an aluminum one, get a good strong aluminum one, and I, right off the top of my head, I don't know, and get one of those quiet hitches so it doesn't slam around a lot. It doesn't make a big difference. The problem with you get those steel ones, and they're not put together as good as you, and they're heavy. That's one of the things Brian was having a problem with his van, is that hitch, and then he put that motorcycle and bicycle back there and everything, and it hung way back, and he had it on a lift deal, and man, that whole van was just squatting, and that's part of the reason why his U-joints went out and everything else. So once we got the U-joints in, started looking at how the drive line was and everything, just kind of decided, well, it's time to lift it. So we put the airbags, and we put those Rancho 9000s on there, and it seems like everything's working good for him, at least as far as I know. Hi, Stevie. Hi, Sadie. My granddaughter and my son are on here.
Steve. Hi, Sadie Bug.
I use Lucas gas treatment every fourth fill up in my 08 Silverado 5.3 gas engine. What's your opinion on this product? You know, I am not a big fan of Lucas stuff, and only because of my own experience with it. I had a little tiny rear main seal leak. I mean, like a cap full every 100 miles of oil. And boy, as soon as I put that Lucas oil treatment in, I had a big leak and getting worse. So I'm not a fan of the Lucas stuff. I know as far as my fuel treatment, which I have diesel, I use transmission fluid, but that probably would not be good for you to put in your gas-powered engine. Usually, I would just say in a gas-powered motor, I wouldn't put anything in it. I just buy good fuel. I wouldn't use Arco. Is it locked out? Are we locked out?
No.
I would use you know, a better quality fuel. And I mean, an '08 Chevy Silverado, man, that thing, they'll run on almost anything. Those are pretty strong trucks. It's 5.3, so it's a 327. That's a good motor. That's a good stroke and bore too. That's a good powerful engine.
Hi, Gideon.
See, we got all our grandchildren around here. Really, everybody this is kind of a family thing, and you guys are all family now. See, everybody. So, anyway, we're scrolling on there. Should I hit the refresh or something?
Okay. This is okay. My phone's okay too. So, I think we're just pulling too much bandwidth with the 3 devices.
Well, that didn't work.
Leah.
There we go.
We're all family, some by choice, some not by choice. What are you talking about? Trey did miss Steve last week. Yeah. Put transmission fluid in fuel tank?
Yeah, on my diesel I do. Yeah, well, I wouldn't do it on the new ones. Anything after '06, I wouldn't do it because they're designed to run on the dry fuel. Anything before '06, I definitely would do it. I run it. I put for every 50 gallons of diesel I put in this, I put a quart transmission fluid, and it definitely, you can feel the difference when you come up to the light. It just idles perfect. When I don't put that tranny fluid in there, it just seems a little bit rough. It doesn't start as easily, and what that quart transmission fluid does is it lubricates those injectors so they fire clean. And my buddy who's a truck driver is the one who told me all about that. And he used to actually, when he changed his filters, he would fill them full of tranny fluid. Now I'm not quite that daring, but he'd fill it full of his fuel filters full of tranny fluid when he'd start it. And he said it smoked for a few minutes. It didn't really like to run on it real good, but he said, man, once it cleared out, it ran really good. So I just put the quart in every 50 miles. And I mean, this thing runs good enough as it is, but that tranny fluid just makes it run just a little bit better.
I do ATF too.
Yeah, does it work good for you, Trey? I mean, it's always, like I say, since I started doing it, which is from the beginning, I'll tell you when I really notice it is when I don't put it in. Then I realize, oh crap, this thing's running terrible. But if you go to like the truck stops and stuff, you got to pay $6 or $7 for a quart of transmission fluid. So we hit Walmart's. We go to Walmart. I'm always pretty sure to make sure I get a couple of quarts of tranny fluid, and now I've been buying gallons and keeping 1 quart. Dad, when did you first realize you were a mechanic? Story time. Okay. So my son wants me to tell. When I was a kid, I built a little wood go-kart, and in order to power the go-kart, I had to take the lawnmower apart. So I took the lawnmower all apart, put the lawnmower engine on my go-kart, and drove it around the neighborhood. And then when it came time to mow the grass, I put the lawnmower back together. So that was my first experience on being a mechanic. And I guess the secret is anybody can take something apart. It's whether you can put it back together again. So I learned right from the very get-go. I had a friend of mine, he could take anything apart, but I never seen him put anything together. So, I mean, I used to have to go over there and help him put stuff together just so he could sell it. I like the idea of motorhomes. You think are a good rig.
And you meant every 50 gallons, not miles, correct?
Every 50 gallons. Yeah, sorry, not
Yes.
miles. Yeah, you know, John, the thing, if I could influence you in any way, I would say that if you're willing to buy something a little bit older, you're going to buy something that's 1,000 times better than anything you can buy new, pretty much, unless you're going to get up into the Four Travels, the Newells, the Prevos, and you're talking million plus. Most of the motorhomes now are not put together with the standard. I mean, they're not as strong. The front of this motorhome is just loaded full of steel. The whole back is aluminum framed. There's no wood framing in this at all. Everything is aluminum framed. You can get a whole lot more motorhome, and the thing about it is if I'm putting some, like I say, on Economic Refugees group. I'm putting one on every day. I just put a little Winnebago on there, or no, not Airstream. And it's a diesel, and it comes. He's got the tow bar, and he's got the brake buddy. He's got everything. If you bought that motorhome, all you'd have to do is have a vehicle that's capable of being towed and put a plate on it to tow it. And it's older. It's not super fancy or anything, but it's cheap. And for some people, that's great. Now, other people want really nice, but you could get some 06, 05, 06 that would be a Palace and built solid and have a great motor and not have to run DEF and that type of stuff. You know, you just got to check tires, and there's a lot of things you got to check. But if you do that, if you keep an eyeball on, you know, if you get used to looking at them, you can find something that's really nice. Just got to be patient. And some of these guys have these rigs. I put one on the other day too that was beautiful. They pulled it off, so it's already sold. But it was so clean, I was like, man, if, you know, that'd be something, if we were close by, I'd just go look at it. But it was nice, and it was at the right price, where around 50 grand, and it was pretty new and really no miles. I think it had 16,000 miles on it. And you get something like that, I mean, you're basically buying new. Okay, let's see.
Where was your motorcycle shop and what happened?
Okay, all right. Our motorcycle shop was in Hesperia, California, and there was a lot of, in the beginning, there was nothing there except for the Harley dealer and me. And when the Harley dealer couldn't fix stuff, they would bring it to me. And they tried to get me to be the service manager there a few times. I was taught by one of the greatest motorcycle mechanics in the world, and his name is Rusty Birch. And I mean, he grew up, his family owned a Harley dealer, and he was a PhD in Harley Davidson mechanics. And he was one of those type of guys that I could get on the phone and call him up and say, hey, you know, I got this bike and it's making the stinking noise, and I've had it apart 3 times. I can't find it. Well, start it up and hold the phone next to it. And he would tell me what was wrong with it. I mean, he was just amazing. He designed BDL belt drives and Rivera. And he just really had a lot of skills, and he taught me what I know as far as working on motorcycles. I basically learned from him. We had our motorcycle shop. I started out of my house. I had a little spot in my garage, and I had an electronics company. We had that running, and I was wrenching on motorcycles for my buddies, and you know, just kind of learning things and building bikes, custom bikes and this guy Rusty was helping me out. And then we were doing pretty good, and we decided to do an add-on to our house. So we did a big add-on to the house, and I put a shop in. I had a spray booth, so I was able to paint and do everything right out of our house. Everything was going great. I had Drag Specialties. I was platinum with them. It was CCI, Custom Chrome Incorporated. I had all these people. Everything was rolling real good. We had a little sign on the building. We were grandfathered in with the city. We had a city license and everything. And then some other guys decided that they were going to open their ex-customers decided they were going to open a motorcycle shop. So they went and bought this little tiny, or rented this little tiny place, and they were selling parts. And they went to my suppliers and complained that I was working out of my house. So my suppliers told me, well, we got to pull the plug on you.
And they did.
And they did. And they didn't want to, because these guys were doing nothing. But it was, you know, it was one of those things. We were in a residential area. So we went and rented a building and dropped a ton of money in, and we had a really nice shop. It was a beautiful shop. And we were in there about 5 or 6 years. Mm-hmm. And then the economy, well, before that, in the 90s, with our electronics company, Clinton came into office and everything was cool, but he allowed the Chinese come into the United States and they started dumping electronic equipment. And I was an electronic junk man. When you would go to the store and buy a VCR, you bought a car stereo or something like that, you take it home and you go to put it in or hook it up, doesn't work right or something. So you take it back to the store, they give you another one. Well, the store sends it back to the manufacturer or the wholesaler, and I would go in and buy those defectives. And I had 3 or 4 guys that were audio techs and video techs, and I had all the test equipment, I had everything, and they would work on these car stereos. I had some guys making $90,000 a year working on these little car stereos. They were just loving it.
Yeah.
And we didn't care because we were making a ton of money, and I was working 2 days a week. And my son that's on here used to go with me. He specialized in loading and unloading the van and eating lunch with me. So we had a blast. Every Tuesday we would do that. And then on Friday afternoons, we just package everything all up, and I call a couple of guys, and we'd sell out every week. So it was just like automatic. It was real easy. So I was getting bored, and that's why I got into the motorcycle thing. So when we had to move, it cost us then Clinton came in, the motorcycle thing started dying. I mean, not the motorcycle, the electronics business started dying. So I was getting out of the electronics business more and more. I kept downsizing on it because I couldn't sell refurbished goods as cheap as they could sell these brand new Chinese pieces of junk. So I finally just said, we went down, and the owner's daughter of this one company we were working with, which basically at that point was the only people we were dealing with, I told them I would only be able to come every other week, that the sales were way down, and until things straightened out, I couldn't come every week. And she just said, well, we'll get someone else. And I said, all right, well, you get somebody else. It wasn't exactly how it went, but I don't want to explain how I said it. But anyway, I told my son, I said, unload everything, and he did. And we got in the truck at that time, and we came home, and I just started working full-time on motorcycles. And it was a little tough in the beginning because it was more of a hobby in the beginning. And then we just went full bore into it. Then we ended up in our building, and we were there, and business was really good. And then in '08, things started slowing down, and I was still busy. Our shop still did pretty good until the middle of 2010. All the other shops closed. They were all gone. There was only one other shop, and it was 2 highway patrolmen. And the only reason why they were in business was because they needed a place to hide out from their wives because they were retired. And anyway, when they found out we were closing, the one guy came over and goes, well, what are we supposed to do? Well, we can't fix them. We send them to you. I said, well, I guess you're going to have to learn how to fix bikes, huh? Yeah, that was it. And we closed the doors.
And so did they.
Yeah, as soon as we closed, they were done. And we sold part of the business and right out of the building. And some other guys came into the building that we were in. And I mean, I spent a lot of money on fixing that building up. It was awesome. And I had my customers calling me going, man, that place looks like garbage. I mean, they're dirty, filthy, and they only lasted, I think, 6 or 7 months, and they were out of business. And for years, I had people calling me want me to work on their bikes. But anyway, I'm pretty much done with that. I mean, I still can. Last year when we were here, I rebuilt the front end on a Honda. So, and this year we have a guy with a gold wing tricycle next to us. So I'm not a big fan of gold wings. And the gold wing, the motorcycle itself is not the problem. It's the guys who ride them, for some reason, they feel like they have to put Harley people down. And then when you're riding one with 3 wheels, you're not a biker, you're a triker. So anyway, okay, enough of that. Anyway, it was a great life. I had a lot of fun with it. I love building motorcycles. If I build any more bikes, they're going to be no newer than the 60s. I mean, I like working on the old ones. They're really tough to do. Most people don't know anything about them, but I like them. So, okay, yeah, you mean 50 gallons? Correct. I like the idea of I like the idea of motorhomes you think are a good rig. Okay. Where was your motorcycle shop and what happened? So that we answered that. Tell us about your first date with Darla and what year was it? Boy. You want me to do this one too?
I just want to see if you remember.
Okay, well, we met in 1978, and we were working together at Greenwood Pontiac in Downey, California. And she was a cashier and I was a service writer. And I asked her out probably close to 1,000 times over a 3.5-year period, and she would never go out with me. And actually, I left Pontiac in the beginning of 1979, went to the Oldsmobile dealer down the street, got a much better job, and she was still working at Pontiac. So I would see her once in a while going up and down the road, and I would roll the window down, say hi, hey, when we going out, stuff like that. And she just ignored me. So
I'd say hi.
She
and I'd say no.
She had a dummy. She made the big mistake of marrying when I was still around. Anyway, she was with a month and a half, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden one day I had a buddy of mine, Ernie. He's a Cuban guy. He's the truck driver. He was living with me, and I bought my first house when I was 19. So in the beginning, the payment was $365 a month. So I had to have like 5 people living with me to make that payment. Anyway, as time went on, when I was working at Oldsmobile, I was cleaning house. I was making good money. And my buddy Ernie was just there because he just wanted to be away from his family. We were like in our 20s. Anyway, one day I come home from work and he goes, hey, some girl called for you. And I go, yeah, who's that? And he goes, Darlene or something. I go, Darlene. He goes, yeah, you worked with her at Pontiac. And I go, you mean Darla? He goes, yeah, Darla, that's it. I said, well, where's her number? Oh, she's going to call you back. I said, she better. Anyway, she did. And the rest is history. Now they call her the luckiest girl in the world. Huh.
Uh-huh. I always tell him, you keep saying that, maybe in another 38 years I'll believe it.
It gives it all sorts of power. You mean, yeah, okay. Let me see. So did that answer your yeah, and then she got her marriage annulled. Yes, and the next day we got married. November 10th, 1981. How about that? I still remember. It's tattooed on my eyelids. So every time I blink it says November 10th, 1981. Let's see. Where
well
was
done. You remembered every single point.
I remember how meticulous you were when pulling things apart, laying out every nut and bolt so you'd know what went where when you put it back together. Then I'd accidentally kick them out of place. Yes, well, things happen.
I have to say one thing about that. I used to tell him, you better not die when you've got 4 bikes torn apart, because I won't know whose parts are whose. He did. He knew where every bolt went, every piece to that machine. He knew exactly where it was. I had no clue. So if he was gone, people would just come in and go, that's mine, that's mine, that's mine. And I wouldn't have a clue.
I'd have guys work on motorcycles, and they'd bring them in, and I'd say, did someone already work on this? Well, yeah. How do you know? I go, because they put all the bolts in the wrong places.
Yep.
Because I knew there's...
bolts went where?
You know, and things have to go together a certain way. Harley Davidson built things a certain way where sometimes it was really, really hard to get it apart. And the reason why it was really, really hard to get it apart is because, like the brake lever on the right side, you can put the clevis in from the outside and put the clip on the inside, but then that clip comes out and that clevis comes out. Then all of a sudden... The brake arm goes down and the bike goes flying in the air. And so Harley Davidson made it where you had to take everything apart to put that thing on the inside. When you put it back together, it can't come out. And I mean, I had one day where a customer and his 2 boys came in and brought this bike in, and they had me start looking at it. And he wanted me to get it running. I asked him, I said, if I get this running, what are you going to do? And he says, I'm going to ride it. And I said, well, I'm not going to get it running, because whoever put this thing together put it together backwards. I mean, it's not rideable. And he goes, well, I just want to be able to start it. And I said, no, load it back up and get it out of here, because I would have taken it all apart and put it together for him, right? But there's only one way to do it. There's a way that they have to go together, and I've seen enough mouse stories in my life that I don't want to play that game. Let's see. 1-0 the Knights. Okay.
Is that your team, Pete?
Go whoever you want. I'm glad you
know who they're playing.
See, he's watching us too. We're probably more exciting than that. He's learning our life story here.
Especially your romantical story.
I did what you did with electronics with Granger products. Yeah. So, I mean, that goes on. I mean,
It's called Be Goods.
You know what? I was doing that in the motorcycle business. I'd go over to the Harley dealers and I'd go in the parts and service department. I bought a lot of stuff out of the back doors of Harley Davidson. I go, what about all this takeoff stuff? And they'd have all this stuff laying there, and they, well, you know, I go, what do you have, like a little swap meet thing on one weekend a year? Yeah. Well, how about if I give you $2,000 for all that stuff right now?
It was a good deal.
And they'd go, oh, well, oh, okay. And I take it to the swap meets and I sell it for $5,000. So, I mean, there's a way to make money. You know, the secret in business that I learned a long time ago is it's not what you can sell it for, it's what you can buy it for. Because if you can buy something cheap enough, then that's what Walmart does. That's why people shop at Walmart, because you can go in there and the same stuff that you're going to buy at a regular market or at a regular clothing store or whatever is going to cost you more than it does at Walmart, because they buy a tremendous amount. Speedy liked our story. Let's see. That is such a romantic. Yeah, that's true. Thanks, Leah. Moved up to Oldsmobile. That'll do it. Yeah, you know, I worked at Oldsmobile in '79 when those diesels were blowing up. And I was a service writer and I was on commission. And, man, I made back, now this is back in '79, I was making over $3,000 a month. And I knew men that were in their 40s and 50 years old that had been working on jobs for 20 years. They were making $1,500 a month, and they thought that I was a thief. But I was a good salesman. I didn't sell people. I didn't stab people. That's one thing about me I never did. You come in, I didn't like put a oil thing in an empty can and charge you for an empty can of oil. I didn't do that kind of stuff. I mean, when I told you there was something wrong with your car, I'd have the mechanics pull a front wheel and a rear wheel and check the brakes. I've always told my lube guys, you can make a ton of money being a lube guy, but you got to work. And I'd tell them how to do it. I actually had one guy, he was a line mechanic. He was one of those guys that could take anything apart, but couldn't put it back together. And I came into this dealership and I was service manager where all these cars with all these hoods on the roof of the cars. And I go, what's going on with those? Well, they're kind of waiting to be put back together. And so I met the line mechanic and I figured out pretty quickly that he had no idea what he was doing. So I told him he was going to be a lube mechanic, and he pulled a knife on me. And I just told him, I said, well, I said, you know, why don't you do this? Why don't you put your knife away and work lube man for 1 month and see how much better you do. And if you don't do better, then you can set that knife down and I'll fall on it for you. A month later, he was buying me beers and hugging me, and he never made so much money in his life. So, you know, sometimes it's a matter of putting somebody that has a talent for certain things in certain areas. And once you start getting people in those positions, then not only do they make you look good, but they make themselves look good. You know, it's not always about just being mean to somebody. Get those motors back together, put those hoods on, you know, and then those cars they roll 2 miles down the road and they break. So this guy got a good job, and he was doing great after that. So it was a good thing. I didn't have to fall on the knife. You could put a bike together through the exhaust pipe. Okay, my son wants to tell this joke. So this guy was a gynecologist, and he just got tired of the job, and he decided, that's it, I'm done, not doing this no more. So he quits the profession, and he goes to the MMI school, and he learns how to work on motorcycles. And at the very end of the course, he gets his grade, and his grade is 185%. And the guy's like, he's like looking at the other guy's things, and he's like, what's everybody else has like 70 and 80%. So he said, well, you better go talk to the instructor. Maybe he gave you the wrong, percent or something. So he goes to the instructor and he says, what's up with this? Everybody else is 70s, 80s, and I'm 185. How's that work out? And he says, well, man, the way you tore that bike down and you laid all those parts all out and you figured out exactly what was wrong and you got everything put back together, and that bike, you turned that key on, it fired right up, and it just sounded beautiful. He said, man, I was really impressed. And he says, well, would that be like 100%? He said, well, normally, yes, but I've never seen anyone do it all through the exhaust pipe before. Anyway, that's what my son wanted to tell you. So maybe 2 ways to put a bike together. Steve, we're not talking about bikes. He wants me. Bill, you sound sick. Alexia. Be Goods is a great business. My son was making $3,000 a month going to swap meets when he was in high school. More parents need to teach their kids to make a living with their hands. That's a fact. You know, all my kids, my son, he detailed motorcycles and he made gas money and stuff like that. And then what was funny is my son got his first Harley when he was 14. And the other kids at school didn't believe him. And then when he turned 15 and a half, I let him ride it to school, and then they all believed him. How's that for a story, Steve? And then he, like I say, he detailed bikes, and he was really good at going to lunch with me. We used to go to lunch every day. And then when he moved on and started working for the city, actually he went into working at Daytech where they built the frames, because that area, that little area of Hesperia, by just people moving into that area to manufacture parts. And Daytech, when I met that guy, he didn't know anything about motorcycle frames. He was a fabricator and a powder coater, and I hooked him up with a couple of guys I knew, and next thing I know, man, they were getting big, and they were popping these frames out, and it was he did really good for years. And then when things went bad, he was thinking it was never going to end. A lot of people thought that. Well, that was great money. Let's see. Smile, smile, Leah. Amazing true stories about the gynecologist. That wasn't a true story. And Steve can almost spell gynecologist. That's Leah. Let's see. See, that doubles the size of our thing with all our kids and grandkids watching. For a guy that was close.
For a guy that was close.
Oh, forgot that one. It's your internet. Nobody cares, Leah. True, we might be concerned if he knew how to spell it. Okay, you two, quit fighting on our channel. Need to go turn that air up or down a little bit in the back. It's burning over here. Aren't you hot?
Down. Oh, down.
Yeah, turn the temperature down. Yeah, I had the back one on.
Okay.
So that it's not making a lot of noise here. I finally, I got those. Both my air conditioners went out when we were gate guarding in Texas. The front one went out first, so I put a new one on, and then I changed the cover on the back one. I think I told this story before. And then the back one went out after I bought the new cover so they would match. So now I got two new air conditioners, but the little control panels, I don't know. I have one that's the original one. Now it's in the bedroom, but I've had two other ones go out, and I just bought another one for out here. So anyway.
Dometic.
Yeah, Dometics. Thank you. Do we have any more questions? You can ask about us. I mean, if we don't want you to know, we won't tell you. I mean, my stories are. I've lived a very exciting life. I've done a lot of exciting things in my life, and of course. One of my exciting things, don't keep my Dometics.
What?
Do I keep my Dometic 3 fridge or not? Yeah. Do you keep it? Absolutely. Is it not working? Because you can replace just the unit or whatever.
We've done just about everything except for the box.
Yeah, we've replaced pretty much every part on it. I did it right here on the floor. Just laid a towel down, pulled that thing out, laid it down on its face, and pulled the cooling unit. I replaced two.
Yeah.
So it was the third one.
A year ago in December, it was not fun.
Yeah, at Christmas time. We were doing Christmas trees, and 2 times I drove to this place and had the things that they gave me a unit, and it was leaking before I even got to the motorhome. So, I called them up. I said, "Hey, this thing's leaking." So then they said, "Well,
and when it leaks, it smells like ammonia. It's awful."
And then that's another thing you check when you buy an RV. If it's got the regular RV type refrigerator, pull the panel off on the outside. There's a little cover where the flame is. Pull that out, and if you see like yellow powder there, that means it's leaking. That'll tell you that it's not a good refrigerator, that it's going to need a cooling unit. And I think we paid, what, $500 for that cooling unit, 500 or 600.
Yeah.
So, yeah, three-way, man. That's when you're traveling, it's free cooling because it's going to run on 12 volts. What's your favorite place you visited? I know. Little Rock, Arkansas. That's our favorite place we've ever visited. We had so much fun there. And the best ice cream place is where my grandson took us. It's working. Just asking while I'm gutting my rig out. Thanks, Bill. Yeah, don't get rid of that. That's a good thing.
Her caps lock is still stuck.
We do Christmas trees in July.
Poor Makio.
Speedy wants to know when we do Christmas trees.
When?
We do them in July. July
When
and
or
August.
where?
No. Didn't he say when? Oh, I can't read, man. Where? Sorry. I was just kidding. Anyway, we do it in Carlsbad, California. We're about a mile from the beach. It's a rough place to do it, but somebody's got to do it. It's really nice down there. Let's see. Where in Texas did you gate guard? Well, we gate guard in Centerville. We gate guarded in College Station. We did it in Carrizo Springs. We did it in Carrizo Springs. We were a mile and a half from where that border guard was killed, and we were there when that border guard was killed. And we were also there when they brought all those kids. All those kids came in. We were watching them bringing them in by the pickup load, and the Border Patrol was taking them to town, and they were sending them all over the country. And I told people that, and they all said, "Oh, you're crazy. It's not." And I said, "No, it's true." And
He'd
then
have conversations with the Border Patrol guys. And
they didn't like me.
They ended up not talking to him anymore. They used to stop and talk to us, and after he started kind of putting them on the line like that.
I just told them, I said, who did you sign an oath to, Obama or to the Constitution of the United States?
Well, I need the job. I need the paycheck, but, you know.
And they were good guys. There was nothing wrong with them personally. They just had families to take care of, and their jobs were threatened.
They were ordered to just bring them in, actually, not just let them come in, bring them in. And so they quit stopping and talking to us.
All my grandchildren are my favorites. I don't try to do that. Maggie wants to know who our favorite one is.
Maggie.
Do I keep my Wedgwood 4-burner stove and oven? It's working too. Of course. You're remodeling your rig. Don't toss all that good stuff away. I would keep it and use it. You know. You're gonna find that if you toss all those items away, and you go get one of those Domestics that you sit on the floor and all that, you want to be able to park somewhere and shut the engine off, and all of a sudden everything works on propane, and you have backup batteries, and you have a generator. You want to have all that stuff. Especially if you're going to live this lifestyle. I mean, what Brian's doing is not easy. I mean, we've spent a lot of time with Brian. I mean, he's stayed months with us. With the Christmas trees and in Arizona and different things. And what he does is not easy. You start living out of a van, you start finding out that, sometimes you go a week without a shower, and you'll pull in somewhere and park, and you go to a campground. Some campgrounds don't want you in there. Not very many, but some don't. And you want to be self-contained, especially. We're work campers, so wherever we go, we have everything we need. We don't even have to plug in. We can run our generator if we have to. We can live completely self-contained, and that's what you want to be able to do. Whatever you're going to do, being self-contained is the most important thing. And I see these guys. Jax is a good. I don't know if you guys know who he is. He had a little school bus. And now he's got a great big school bus because he wants to have more, features and more place to store stuff. He wants to have toilets and showers and stuff like that.
He wants a motorhome.
Yeah, well, and when he gets done, that's what he'll have. You can do it in a van. It's tight. I don't know if you know of Just Incredible. I don't know these guys, but I watch their videos. I'm just like everybody else. I'm interested in what people do. And just incredible, that Islander he has. I mean, it works real good for him. And it's a van. And he could take a shower. He could stand up and take a shower. He's got a toilet. And he keeps his tanks. And I mean, if it was me and I had his rig, I'd do it just the way he's doing it. I mean, he's got it fixed up on the outside. It's this purple color. And he parks in residential areas and everything else. No one bothers him. I think people are more suspicious of a white van with solar panels on the top than they are if they know you're in an RV and you move around. The secret, if you're gonna be boondocking in cities, is don't stay in one place. When you stay in one place for more than a day, people start going, okay, what's going on over here? You know, we don't stay when we're boondocking. We don't stay more than one day. In fact, we usually just stay the night, get up in the morning, and roll. And we don't put our slides out. So, let's see. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Okay. Maggie is sowing seeds of Yeah, but Leah, you do that too. Even though one of your commenters
said Little Rock was an armpit and to stay away.
Yeah. Oh, we had a good time there. It's nice there.
It is.
Easiest way to lift a rig, airbags, or additional leaf springs. Well, now once again, these are all my opinions. The way I look at it is, and honestly, you put an extra leaf spring in there, it really stiffens it up. And it will raise it, but it really stiffens it up. And you have no control over that. You put airbags on it, it's going to ride nicer. It's going to have a nicer ride. And those airbags hold 5,000, they'll carry 5,000 pounds. So, I mean, especially if you're in a van or a Class C or something, airbags are the only way to. This has airbags on it, and they hold 30,000 pounds. So, but they're big. I mean, they're like, did you see that? They're like this big around. They're like what you see on diesel trucks. Same thing on this. Most diesel trucks have leaf springs in the front, and they ride real hard when they hit them dips. And the back rides real smooth because it's all air ride. But they're not sitting in the back. They're sitting kind of either in the front, more to the front, or in the middle. So airbags are the way to go. A lot smoother ride. Let's see.
End of the first.
Caps one, nights one. I'm thinking about retrofitting a bus like the short one I used to ride to school every day. There you go. And you can buy them cheap. School buses you can buy cheap. The scary part about school buses is registering them. You better check all that out, because I was thinking about buying a couple of them things and restoring them and selling them. But the registration and insurance could be a real tricky thing. So, and I don't really have time. I don't have any. If I had somewhere where I was sitting still all the time, I could do it. What do you think of these new RVs that practically have to have slide outs to be functional? Yeah. Well, when you see a motorhome that has a bath and a half, the reason why it has a bath and a half in the motorhome is because you can't get to the bathroom when it's in the back. When the slides are in. So they have that half bath normally in the front, so you have a bathroom when you're traveling. Just like with a tow trailer. If you have a towable and it's got a big slide out on it, a lot of times it has two doors, and the front door goes into the kitchen and the living area. The back door goes right into the bathroom. The reason why they do that is when you're traveling, you get out of your car and you run like crazy to the back door and open it up and go in there and use the restroom. One thing nice about all the time we've been married, and we've always liked to camp. We've had campers and everything else. Darla always said, we ought to get a motorhome. And we looked into getting a Class C one time. Well, we actually looked into motorhomes a couple times, but they were always so expensive. Of course, part of the problem was that we were usually looking at real new stuff. And because I was, you think of motorhomes like cars, they get to be 10 or 15 years old. Well, they're probably no good. Well, the thing about it is that most of the 10 or 15-year-old motorhomes haven't been used that much. You can find them with almost no miles. This thing was 15 years old when we bought it. Had 32,000 miles. Generator had 300 hours on it. So the engine wasn't broken, the generator wasn't broken in, the carpet wasn't wore out. You know, the thing was in pretty good shape, other than it just had not been really taken care of. You know, it had sat outside. The outside was wasted, and it was dirty. And I mean, if somebody had spent a couple of grand on it just by getting the whole inside cherried out and stuff like that, they could have made. She could have got a lot more money for it. There's no doubt about it.
Seriously, well, I did cry when I thought I have to live in this, and it smelled so bad, and it was just filthy. And Bill kept saying, "It's gonna look better. It's gonna look better," but it still smells, and it was awful. And I don't know if you guys remember the story about the smell, but he found out the reason why after a couple of weeks was because the sewer hose, you have to connect the ends of those when you're not using it to dump. And as soon as he did that, it was fine.
Yeah.
Plus, I think we got a new sewer hose.
Well, most of your RVs, they have the little openings in the rear bumper.
Yeah, so it's completely outside.
The drawback to those is if you're driving down the freeway, you see some guy's hose flapping out the. You know, if you don't get those things closed up tight, man, because they just leak air.
So they have bumper caps, and they're square. And I remember when we would go on our motorcycle rides up north, and like Highway 1, it was windy around the coast. And I remember going around right-hand turns and looking down in the curve, and you'd see like 6 or 8 of those caps down there. And you just know those people lost their sewer hoses, and they were all the same cap.
Yeah.
The same black cap. They go around that right-hand turn, the bumper would scrape.
Or people forget
pull that cap off.
And they shove their hose in. I used to tell people, I go, you know where to get. I go, you see this where you put your hose? I say, you know where you get these caps for free, don't you? And they go, no. I go, well, by the exit of the KOA, because people leave them sitting on their bumper when they leave. They fly out. And then their hoses.
But ours is in the cargo bay.
Yeah.
And it was right under the hot water tank, which is inside.
Right.
Of a cabinet inside the interior of the motorhome. So he opened that door one day and went, whew.
It smelled like an elephant. It smelled like
so
a herd of elephants took a dump in this thing.
It was so bad. I mean,
just
we scrubbed everything. Walls, ceilings, floors, everything. Cabinets, everything. And it still
dumped that tank.
Yeah.
Got
ice
gray
in
water
it.
tank stuff.
It was so bad. So bad. And
I
then
mean,
he's
just
like,
get your stomach.
well, we're going to upholster. We're going to put new carpet. And I'm like, and no.
And then I went out there and I'm looking and I'm thinking, well, when I opened that door up and I got a whiff of Jif, I went, ooh, it's coming from here. I closed the door and I went outside and those sewer hoses were sitting there and I thought, okay, so I took them out and I go, okay, and I connected the ends and threw them back in there and the smell went away. Next day it was gone.
Yep.
And so I always tell people, and here's another tip. With your water hoses, always drain them out, roll them up, and screw the ends together. Because just like you get smell out of a sewer hose, bugs love to get into those water hoses. And they get in there and they'll do their little thing and you'll turn your water on. They'll get in and jam your stuff up and everything else. Also, like carrying firewood. We had a friend of ours who always carries firewood in his. And one time he had a nest of black widows have babies. And he was afraid to sleep in it when those things had their little babies. And I don't blame him. So that you just, good night, Leah. Oh, wait.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, Makio said good night too, Leah.
Yeah, good night. Yeah. Anyway.
Oh, Leah also says stinky slinky.
Yeah.
Affectionately.
Yeah, don't, and even wood that you use to drive on.
Yeah.
Oh, well, it's treated wood, it's this and that. Yeah, but when you set it on the ground and you put your wheels up on it, and then things get wet or whatever, and bugs will still get into that. Once you get bugs, I'm telling you, we've had bugs in our black tank, and that was a freaking nightmare to get rid of.
Yeah, and those were sewer flies.
They were sewer flies.
Sewer
yeah.
At KOA in Uray. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and it took like 3 bleach baths in that tank.
And we weren't the only ones that had them. Like everybody attached to that line had them in their rig. We were work campers. So. And then we had ants from when we went when we went to tree school in California to sell Christmas trees. They put us in a campground.
We had those things for months.
6 months easily. They just kept.
This year we had these.
Hatching. It was bad.
At Sugar Beets, they let these little. They look like little ladybugs.
They're Asian beetles.
And they were there to kill something else. Well, now they're the dominant bug in North Dakota and that area, Minnesota, and they're probably the dominant bug now on the West Coast and in San Diego, because they were flying out of this thing every time we stopped. I don't know how we got them in here, because we didn't let them in, trust me. But I mean, that's how things get moved around. You know, that's why they have those agricultural things where they stop you and say, "Do you have any fruit in your vehicle?" No? Okay. What a waste of time. That's just so somebody gets a job.
What do we got time-wise? What are we at?
Yeah, we're at 1 hour 15 minutes. Is everyone ready for us? It looks like we're starting to lose people. Everyone about done with us? We don't want to let anything pass here if someone's got a question. That thing just keeps scrolling.
I know.
Okay. Does anyone else have a question or an answer? Or
anybody want a mint?
Anybody want a mint? I got lots of questions, but I can ask you via Facebook.
You can also email us and at economicrefugees at hotmail.com. economicrefugees@hotmail.com. And if you want to drop us your number, Bill can
call you.
Whatever it takes to help you guys.
Did you ever find your doors, or did you ever figure out anything on the doors? You know, if they're hey, old Pete's, I'm here. It's between periods. All right, Pete. Well, we'll stay on a little while longer for you. If they're flat doors, those are easy to make. I mean, you can make those things. I don't know why anyone
can make them. Yeah.
Sure. You know, all they are is just a piece of fiberglass. You just buy a sheet of it and cut it out to shape, and then you put aluminum trim around it. Piece of foam on the inside, drill a hole for your lock, and you're done. I mean, you know, put your hinges on there. It's not a big deal.
Or just meet up with us and Bill will make them for you.
Well, are they, Mikhail? Are they flat, or are they like contoured, or how are they?
Do you know what kind of rig she has?
Yeah, she has a Sunraider, a Datsun Sunraider.
You know what year? You can see.
It's a 70s. I've looked at it, but it's ribbed.
I don't think I.
That's why I need to see pictures of it. Yeah, Sunraider, see?
1984.
Yeah, 1980, okay.
Okay, maybe you can find a picture online.
But even if, you know, but it's a flat surface with a rib in it. Is that what it is? Because if that's the case, you could find a molding or something and just stick it on there, you know? I mean, one of the pieces of trim on this was missing, and we just found something that looked good, and we put them on both sides. Remember? Because one side was broken, we couldn't find that piece, so we just found something that would work, that looked good. You don't have anything that will fit on there. Huh? If you have something that fits, you could start. Like I say, I had a Corvette, and when I bought the Corvette, the left rear flare on the back was missing. It was gone. It was busted off. And I just started by hanging a little piece of fiberglass and letting it kind of dry up, and then I just built it from there. And as I built the actual side that you see, I kept grinding away on the inside and shaping the inside. And when I got all done with it, nobody ever knew it had been damaged. I mean, it looked pretty much like the other side, but it's kind of tedious work, but it works good. I like Darla's suggestions better. Laugh out. What did she suggest?
I said, meet up with us and Bill will make them for you.
Yeah. She's always got me working, you see?
Keeps them out of trouble.
Yeah, well, I'll pay you. Yeah, well, I mean,
You know, the previous owner put those doors on there because he couldn't find any others either to replace them. I'm sure he just was like, whatever, this gets her done.
you know, if we ever did meet up, I don't have a problem with it. You know, I don't know where you're at. But what was that? When you're finished, started.
When you first started out, did you start out work camping?
Yes.
Yeah, right out the gate, we did.
First thing we did was
Amazon.
We went to Amazon.
In Campbellsville, Kentucky, and it was
No.
a nightmare.
No. Coffeyville, Kansas.
Oh, yeah.
She doesn't even know where we go. Yeah.
That's because I'm old.
She's forgetful. Anyway, so we went to Coffeyville, Kansas. And that was quite an adventure. We didn't know that we were going to be leaving so soon, but what happened is we got that job. We got that job, and we decided, well, we got a date, and we got to get rolling. So we started selling stuff like crazy, man, and we just blew our stuff out and loaded this motorhome up, and we had taken it out a couple times, and after that, we were living in it. We were on the road, and we still had our house for about a year, and we just had to let that thing go. There was no value to it.
Buying.
There was no value. No one was buying, and the finance company was giving us a bunch of crap. And I just said, you know what, you guys are getting billions of dollars from the government. You've been taxing the crap out of me my whole life. There, you have it. So they we didn't know that much on it. So let's see. That's what we're doing to Brian. What are we doing to Brian?
That's what we're doing too, Brian.
Oh, that's what we're doing too, Brian. Okay. I can't read.
It's punctuation. You've seen that sentence that says, "Let's eat, Grandpa. Let's eat, Grandpa."
Yeah. Grandpa's delicious. Yeah. I was happy to see Brian. He put a couple of videos up, so. And I haven't talked to him in a while. Obviously, he's in Alaska. Pretty sure that's where he's at. He's probably busy working. But he'll get with me. I mean, it's kind of one of the, I have friends like that where I don't hear from them for 6 or 7 months. And the next thing I know, we're hanging out doing stuff and talking and everything. So I just, in this lifestyle, you'll be surprised. Once you get rolling in this lifestyle, you'll keep seeing a lot of the same people over and over and over again. With us, we could be parked in a parking lot, people pulling, hey, we saw your motorhome. It's not like we have a white with blue stripe motorhome where that's only about 75% of everything that's on the road. So ours is totally unique. And we've had people tell, I see you driving down the highway and stuff like that. So
yeah.
But we've only ever really met up with two people the whole time that are, watching us and stuff. So hopefully someday, I don't know. We're into it. Yeah, okay. Grandpa's tough and gristly. I don't know. I never ate Grandpa, so it's one of those things. Just have not had that desire. So we got to have some more questions, or we're gonna run out of content here. I'm just sitting here looking at myself and Darla in the viewfinder, waiting for the next exciting adventure of economic refugees. So you guys, you learned about basically tonight, you learned that's why we're economic refugees. Because we had our companies, and it seemed like every time we got something really rolling and life was really going really good, thumbs up every day, then our pals at the U.S. government or the county or the state or the city would come in and just poke me right in the eye and say, well, I don't think you need to have this anymore. So have you ever worked yeah, Bear Country,
yeah.
Bear Country here. you got to be careful when you go out at night. I mean, you don't. When we're walking home, we both have flashlights, and you listen. You know, you got to be kind of careful when it's a busy
The owner of the
weekend.
campground told us when we got here, be careful coming, walking in the dark, because he saw
The bears are right behind
bear
us over
poop.
there. I mean, usually I'm not real fearful of bears because they usually, when they see you, they kind of take off. But you never know that for sure. Don't take it for granted. There's people that go to Yellowstone and get out of their car and go over and try to pet the buffalo, I mean, or a moose. I mean, that's called stupid. So, I mean, I don't pet anyone else's dog unless I'm pretty sure it's not going to bite me, let alone go and, let me get in the cage with them cute little kitties, lions and stuff, After I put airbags on the rear, will that throw out the alignment, the front end alignment? No, because you don't raise it up real super high. You just bring it back to stock. That's what we did with Brian's. We just brought it back up to where he took his motorcycle and everything off, and we kind of measured it out so we knew how high it should be, what stock height was. Because when it was sagging real hard, that's what was, of course, who knows how old those U-joints were. Probably from the beginning, they were dry and blown up. Anyway, once we got all that figured out, got it all back together and put Zerks and everything so he could service it, we just brought it up pretty much to level. And he says it's been working great last time I talked to him. Looks like Neil lost a tooth.
Is that a hockey player, Neil?
It must be.
Pete, we do not know hockey, so you're going to have to enlighten us.
Yeah, I went to a fight one time and a hockey game broke out. Isn't that the old joke? That thing, what is going on? This part works, that part doesn't.
Losing battery.
What is? You are? Yeah, we're almost there.
Stock height.
Yeah, I'll go for a few more minutes because we're not getting too many. What if I want my rig higher than stock height? Well, you can. If your front end doesn't like it, you'll know it. You'll see it in the wear of your tires. My truck has airbags on the back of it in Rancho 9000 shocks all the way around. We put 9000 shocks on the back of Brian's, and part of the reason why we did that is they're adjustable, and they're hydraulic and they're adjustable. And if you raise the back end up, you don't want a lot of lift when you go through certain areas, and that those Rancho 9000 slow that movement down. So instead of it being able to just do this, it just kind of does this. So look into Rancho 9000 shocks too.
Everybody thinks you sound sick.
Yeah.
Really bad allergies. Always has.
Yeah, we go out in the morning and there's a quarter of an inch of pollen all over our truck and our motorhome.
All yellow. Everything's got a yellow coating over it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a little sniffly right now, but
and then
it comes
rain,
and goes.
And then more pollen, and then more rain, and then more pollen.
I'm allergic to Kleenex, so not really. That's a joke. Anyway, yeah. Yeah, allergies. Yeah, they're bad.
Kyo says thanks, Artie. The airbags.
Yeah. Airbags are great. I think Brian got AirTechs. There's Firestone. I have Firestone on mine. But that AirTech kit was really nice. It went out really good. We had to drill, well, he had to drill like 2 holes on each side. But luckily, see, that's one thing that was nice. He wanted to get it done because I have all the tools. I have everything right here. And, if we're out in the middle of nowhere, I got a generator. So I have an air compressor. I have everything. Here in Wisconsin. Yes, we're in Wisconsin.
Got a bike question, Rick says. Player Orbic off for 2. No score, still 1-1.
Yeah, shoot your bike question. Let me see. Is it a Harley bike? Harley? Or what? Gotta run. Leroy.
Leroy is driving me nuts. I think he has to go potty. Night, Bill. Night, Darla.
Good night.
Night, Mikio. Thanks for tuning in. See you next time. I went to replace my air adjustable shocks in my Honda Goldwing. I want to.
Now, why do you want to do that? Let me tell you a trick. Harley had air shocks on the rear of the dressers for years and years and years.
Honda no longer makes them for my 84.
What you do is you find someone with a big press and you press them things apart and you get all the oil out of them. And then you put, because most of those air ride shocks run about a 5-weight oil, put 30-weight fork oil in those shocks and you'll love them. You'll love them. You'll be able to go over railroad tracks at 100 miles an hour. You won't even know they're there. Makes a big difference. And actually, if you put about 3 cc's more oil in them than normally what they would call for, they'll hydraulically lock before they bottom out. And that's what makes a difference. It's just they come down and they just go, ooh, they just can't quite. It's just too tight. They can't do that bottom out thing. I did a lot of work on suspension. In fact, I helped Terry Suspension, or Terry Cable, who makes suspension parts. I helped work on the design for the front fork dampeners for the Harleys, and we tapered them down where the ride point was, and then we made those where they were progressive and they hydraulically locked. Man, you talk about the suspension on my Road Glide was just unbelievable. The guy that got my bike, he got an amazing motorcycle. It had a rear sway control for the rubber mount situation and everything. That bike just rode so nice. It was a really cool rig. Okay, full for my dinner, back now. Okay. Really question, cool. Thanks, Bill. Yeah, you just gotta get them apart and get that oil out of them. And if somebody's got their act together real good, when they take them apart, retain that oil and pour it and measure it. And then once you find out exactly how much oil's in there, then oil, of course, on an older rig like that, 84, that oil's going to be kind of compressed from years and years and years of travel. So I would probably go 5 or 6 cc's more, which will make it a little weird. And you put that 30-weight oil in it. When it's cold, it's going to ride a little stiff. But most people don't spend a lot of time riding their bike in freezing temperatures. And once it works a little bit, those shocks warm up. They'll start softening up, and on a hot day, they'll ride unbelievable. Just makes it.
Blogger Gone Wild says if one is buying a used RV, how many miles is too many for a V10 and a diesel engine?
Okay, a V10. Most of those V10s, people I've talked to, they can get over 200,000 miles out of them. The secret that I would say with the V10 is if it doesn't have a tremendous amount of miles on it, like over 150,000 or something, I would put that diesel oil, Rotella T6. I would start running. I'd switch it right over that and use the Tough Guard Fram filters. And what that will do is that will clean that motor out. And to get any sludge in there, that diesel oil is high detergent. I run it in my V6 pickup, gasoline motor, and I used to use Castrol full synthetic. In the beginning, I used regular oil for, I don't know, probably 20,000 miles, and I started switching it over to this full synthetic. And man, it just keeps that motor really nice. And I run a Canon high flow intake on it, air kit and everything.
2-1 caps, the grade 8 scores.
Diesels, man, a correctly serviced and correctly drove diesel. I mean, the big thing with diesels is keep your oil changed and make sure that your cooling system is working at its best peak. I mean, if you have a bad fuel filter, it's going to keep you from running, but it's not going to really hurt a lot of things. But if you have a bad cooling system, I flush mine every 2 or 3 years. I drain it, flush it, and this last time I had a little tiny leak, so I put a can of Alumaseal in it, and that seems to have stopped it. But keep that cooling system clean so that it doesn't run hot. and also change your oil every year, and then just don't drive it like I see a lot of these guys with these diesel pickup trucks pulling fifth wheel toy haulers, and they've got to be the first ones out to the dunes in California, and you always saw them on the side of the hood, side of the road with their hood open, and they just ran them too hard, you know. Just treat them like a diesel truck. You see how the truck drivers drive? What? You know, they let them just kind of do their thing. When you get on a hill, if it's lugging, if it's struggling to keep up the speed it's trying to do, let it come down to a lower speed. Let it grab that next gear, and then it doesn't work so hard.
Canon filters are the best. Who taught you that? Yes, Mikio, we are still here. You were the dog.
Speaking of, I need to do that too. Here, talk to everyone for here. You get to have Darla for a minute. I gotta go spell relief. I'll be right back. Entertain them. I want it. Well, you got to entertain them for a few minutes.
Yay!
I've been talking.
He never talks. He's so shy.
Ask some baby questions.
Some baby questions? I don't know what that means. Oh, 16-year-old pug with an old bladder. I hear that. Hey, Steve. Anyways, I know Bill would like talk forever, and you guys are probably, I don't know, if you have any questions, definitely ask them. But my battery's about to die. The internet's been sketchy. Fortunately, this transmission has kind of smoothed out for us from the beginning, which I'm thankful for. But over the Memorial Day weekend in this park, the internet was like next to non-existent because there just were so many people pulling off the internet. So this park was packed out completely. It was nuts. Literally, there were so many people in the pool, it was like you could walk over the pool from one side to the other on top of everybody's heads. It was busy. Buffering on my side too. Uh-oh. Mr. Mobile says we're doing okay. Over the years, so we get a supposed to be unlimited Wi-Fi from Wanderlust on the internet through one of the groups. He sells grandfathered, I guess they're corporate MiFis. Anyway, we've had that for like two years now, a little over 2 years. It's $145. It was supposed to originally be unlimited. The month after we bought it, it went down to 200 gigs, and the month after that, it went down to 100 gigs. But even with all the YouTubing we do, we don't ever go over, and we watch a lot of YouTubes too, and we Skype the kids all the time. So, I mean, we do pretty good. It's $145, like I said, but I don't know. Some people think that's too much, but it's worth it to me.
Let me go back to the Goldwing shocks.
Good connection.
If you want to do that, if you want to do that service to yourself, what you could do is you can drain that oil out of the airline. You got to take, I don't know, on those it's probably just a fitting. You have to take the fitting off and just let it drain and measure the oil. Do both shocks and see how much fluid you get, and then at that point then get the 30 weight fork oil and just add the little bit additional to it, and you can do it yourself. You might even want to try to, I don't know what you would use to wash. We used to take them apart and clean them all out, start like they were brand new, but you could do it without taking them apart. You might be able to put like rubbing alcohol or something in there. I don't know how that would treat the rubber, but you could, you know, if you got it all rinsed out real good, made sure it was real dry, you could do something like that and then put that oil back in there, and you'll love it. That's like what Brian does when he takes a bite of his potatoes or whatever.
Cholula.
A Cholula. We had baby back ribs for dinner tonight, and they were yummy. We make them a special way.
So
we should. That's what we should do is cook, man. You
should cook.
We know how to cook. We know how to eat too. That's part of the
Everybody's
problem.
saying that the internet's okay. It's not buffering. Or,
Really?
Well, no. Mikio said it was buffering for her. Do you use cell phone web boost?
Right here. This is a Wilson booster. And this motorhome came with a cell phone or some kind of a phone antenna on the roof. And we use that as the antenna. But we don't normally have to use it. The only time we use it is like if we're
Christmas trees.
Yeah.
We're like down in a valley there, and if we don't use our booster, the internet will not hold to do transactions.
Yeah, but that's not in our motorhome. Our motorhome works fine. It's the kiosk.
It's in the kiosk for the
They
cashiers.
use it. The company uses it. So. They keep saying, "Oh, we're going to get one. We're going to get one." Well, I never do. We get one.
They'll get one when we don't come back, and the people that replace us don't have a booster. They'll have to.
Steve's talking about Chili Birdie.
Chili Birdie's the best. Wilson is now web boost, really? Okay.
Yeah, I saw Eric got a booster the other day, and I warned him. One of the bad things about these boosters is when you're running them and you're like got your data going through them and your phone and everything. That little connector right there for the power, that thing gets so stinking hot that it keeps losing connection. So I don't understand why companies like this don't run some kind of a pigtail or something out, or come up with like a magnetic or something connector, because these things get cooking hot, and as they get hot, they get loose, and when they get loose, they get hotter, and the looser they get, the hotter they get, and the hotter they get, the looser they get. So it's just. But
we've had that for years.
Oh yeah, we've had it since we were gate guarding. That's when we bought it, because we had nothing. We had no signal, and you plug that thing in, you get three bars of boost.
No, Stephen O'Laughlin, $145 for internet for gigabyte usage a month.
Because they would last too long. Thanks for the gold wing shock info.
Wilson is
You're welcome, Rick.
Because they would last too long.
See, there's a good gold winger. You know, he rides on two wheels and he's nice. The gold wingers always loved to ride with the Harley guys, but when they had functions, we never got invited. They didn't want us around. The Harley owners group, for some reason in our town, husband and wife with a Sportster were the directors of the Harley owners group. But they also had a gold wing, and they were involved with gold wings, and they would always invite all the gold wing people to come and ride on the Harley functions, but they never invited the Harley people to go ride on. I don't know what it was all about. It was just weird. I'm a lifetime hog member. I've been in that thing for 30 plus years or something. Anyway, and I don't know. I kind of stopped going to hog functions. Yeah, it just kind of lost me there.
Well, I don't know who's winning, old Pete, but I hope your team is. He keeps giving us updates. 3-1 caps. I think the caps are your team, or pick scores. Okay, really, I ride with all types of bikes. It's about.
You know what really used to get me mad is that was another thing. I was the only one that would work on Sportsters. It was like it kind of made me laugh, because all the other shops, well, we don't work on Sportsters. We don't know how to work on Sportsters. Man, Sportsters are easy. I mean, they were a piece of cake. And I get these guys coming to tease these guys with these Sportsters, and I go, hey, the guy's riding a motorcycle. Lay off of him, I mean, I don't know. He's riding a motorcycle. He's riding a Harley. I mean, I remember back in the 60s and 70s when I was a kid. I mean, in the 70s, man, all I wanted was a Sportster, right? Well, my son had a Sportster, and he loved that more than... I built him a really nice Softail. The thing was beautiful.
I know about it.
And he liked the Sportster better. So, kind of sad that we sold that Sportster. You probably still have it today if we had sold it. Is internet your highest monthly bill?
No, our medical insurance.
Our medical insurance is. Yeah, his first bike, he was born in 82, and he had an 82 Sportster Roadster, which it was kind of half big twin, half Sportster. It had from the factory.
After this, we go up to Sugar Beets in Minnesota.
Yeah, we'll be there for about a month in East Grand Forks, Minnesota. Beautiful campground. And then from there, we haven't figured out. Last year we went to Montana,
Idaho.
Billings, Montana. Then we went to Idaho, Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, and then we went to Spokane, Washington, and we went over to the coast, and we oiled the whole Highway 101 all the way to California. So hopefully we won't have those kind of problems this year.
Bike mechanics around here in Massachusetts are all young kids.
Yeah.
Don't want to work on older bikes like my Aspen Kate.
I used to get them MMI guys, you know, fresh out of school, would come to our shop, want a job. And I'd say, oh, well, come on in the back. And I always have something with a bolt broke off in it. And I'd say, here, get that bolt out of there. And they stand there, and I open my drawers up. I say, okay, there, you get in there. There's the tools. And I'd walk away, and I'd go back to what I was doing. I'd just keep an eye on them. And pretty soon they come over and go, well, I don't know how to get that bolt out. And I said, well, you know, if you don't know how to get broken bolts out, you're not going to be a good mechanic, good Harley mechanic. Because like I said before, there's a certain size for every bolt on those Harleys. You may have 8 cover bolts, but they're probably 3 different sizes. And guys run the wrong bolts in, and they bottom them out and break them off. And then what do? They don't know how to get them out either, so they used to bring them to me. And I could always get them out. I knew how to get them out of there. It's not easy sometimes. But if you can't get a broken bolt out of an aluminum case, and you can't work on motorcycles in my world.
Thanks for joining us, Stephen O'Laughlin. We appreciate it. Lots and lots.
Yeah, we're going to get off here in a few minutes. Yeah. We've been going about 2 hours and 5 minutes, so we'll go about 10 more minutes, and then we'll get off of here. That's a little under.
My battery's like going to dump me on my phone. So.
Yeah, well, that's all right. Well, sometimes I used to do that, Steve, but there's ways I was able to kind of manufacture my own little deal to get them out. So whenever you are in northern Utah, you have a place to stay. At our house, we have a home in Logan, Utah, Idaho, Utah border. Yeah, that's a nice area there. Yeah, Utah's beautiful.
Thanks, Trey.
Thank you, Trey.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, left-handed drill bit works sometimes. Yep, Mr. Mobile, he's a motorcycle guy. Yeah, there's tricks to it. I had a whole bunch of different. Easy outs. I mean, sometimes they work, but most of the time they don't. I'll tell you what works better than the easy out is the Torx. I mean, you drill a hole real tight, you drive that thing way down in there, or sometimes I would just weld a nut to it, you know, just drill it, pound a deal down in there, or weld a nut to it, and they come right out. There's a lot of techniques. I mean, there was sometimes that the guys would break them off and break a bolt off, and they didn't want to pull the case off because they knew their cam and everything was in there. I just pull the case off and go in there, and there'd be enough to just get it with a pair of vice grips or something. So, yep. I've had to drill them out. I've had to helicoil stuff too. It just all depends, you know. But some of the, you know, where like the cone covers for the cams, they're thin. You know, there's spots where they're pretty thin. They have a little place for the bolts, but they can be pretty thin, and you got to be careful what you do with them. Let's see, Dad, I regret not learning more from you. Well, you learned a lot, and you do what you do best. So, you know, there's a lot of things that I don't know how to do. You know that, but. The thing was, most of the stuff I learned about mechanics, I kind of learned by having friends that were stupid and let me work on their stuff. You know, you learn how to work on stuff by working on your friends' stuff, and once you get it down where you're not ruining all their stuff, then you can start doing things a little differently. The thing about motorcycles are, one thing that people used to like, and it was a big thing, is I used to do those services that the Harley dealer charged people a ton of money to do. And I mean, I did. Guys would come to my shop and they'd say, "I just had this bike serviced. I don't think they changed the oil. I don't think they did this. I don't." And I check them and I go, "Yeah, you're right. Well, they charged me $500 to get this thing done." I go, "Yeah, well, you should have came here. It would have cost you $140." And I do everything. And I mean, I pulled their front ends off and put new bearings in them. I do all the stuff to them, and I did all the service work at the intervals. And if they were there every 5,000 miles. Then every service was the same price, no matter, like the 25,000 mile was a big one. And I charged them the same price as the 5,000 miles. So I had guys, they were there, and Darla used to detail bikes. And they would always come in at the beginning of the year and say, "I need a rear tire, I need the big service, and I need Darla to detail the bike. I'll be back in 2 days." And we'd have their bike all shiny and ready to go for riding season. And we were going to do a thing where we were going to build a house in the top of a metal building, because we live close to the mountains, and let people keep their bikes inside of our, like a warehouse area, and we'd have them on battery tenders and everything, and they just say, "Hey, we're going to come down and go for a ride this weekend. Can you get our bikes ready?" And we get them all, make sure they're fired up, run, clean, and ready to go. When they come, they just jump on them and right away. And then we'd have a place where they pull in. They'd have a key where they could, with their own lock, where they could lock it up. And then when we got up in the morning, or if it was early enough, we'd take them back in. But that was one of those stories where someone was dropping toxic waste on the land we were trying to buy, and this other guy outbid us by about 10 grand, and he got the property. And then when he got the news on how much it was going to cost him to clean that land up, he never did anything with it. I think that land's for sale.
They're empty, the lot.
Let's see, Trey buddy. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I've been working on cars and motorcycles. If you go over to Economic Refugees group and you join that, I've been putting some pictures. I put a picture of a 1948 Panhead, which was the first year of the Panhead engine. I built a really beautiful bike for this guy, and it still looks like a 48 chopper. It's got the sprayer front end, it's got a hardtail. But the guys that know bikes, if they look at it real close, I took 2 fenders to make one fender, and it comes all the way around on the bottom, and I put disc brakes on it. I made it so it was a rideable bike. It's still a hardtail, but I like hardtails. But that'd be my next bike. I want a hardtail. Let's see. Same with your kids. If they are ever traveling up here, they are welcome. It seems like I have known you for a long time. Must be the motorcycle and full-time RV. Well, you know what? I feel like I know a lot of people out there. I mean, I feel like there's a lot I don't know, because I think there's probably, I don't know, I think there's probably about 800 people, 700 or 800 people that are kind of like watches pretty regular, don't you think? I mean, we're almost, our subscriber base has come down. It's been coming down, and we're about, I think we're going to drop below 1,700. We are almost to 1,800. But I think a lot of that is that
a lot of people came over from Brian's channel,
and we're not really, I mean, I could tell you a lot about vans. I mean, I've had one. You would have loved I had a 72 Ford Surfer van with a 302 bottom end.
One of the videos.
351 top end, all roller, nitrous injected C6 with a lowered first and second gear and a 9-inch rear end. And I mean, I had that van all tricked out. I was just killing all the kids in town with Camaros and Firebirds and stuff. They couldn't believe that old van could just tear them up. But I mean, I was a street racer when I was a kid, man. I used to, I worked at a Ford dealership, and I built a Ford Mustang and pulled the front wheels off the ground. It was a street car. Get 5 miles to a gallon. I had a lot of fun with that car. Got 40 tickets, but I had a lot of fun. Anyway.
You see why I wouldn't date him?
Yeah. I had a reputation for a little while. Let's see. The ride to Big Bear is great. Yeah. And you know what's another great one, Trey? Is Highway 2. My son and I used to do Highway 2 all the time. And then we also did Ortega Highway. But Highway 2 was probably, out of all of them, is the best one. Big Bear going up the back way is a little treacherous. Going down the front way. But that Highway 2 is just, I mean, it's just, you know, it's one of these type of deals. And
Bill says the best time in his life was when our son and he rode together during that little window of time. motorcycles. Best time of his life.
Yeah,
There you go, Steve.
yeah. When I was a kid, I had my dad left when I was really young, and my mom married this guy. Well, actually, he moved in at first, but he was a motorcycle guy. And if you ever saw The Wild Ones with Marlon Brando, he looked just like him and wore that same hat. And I mean, he had the big, thick sideburns and the big mustache. And he rode Harleys. And my mom didn't like motorcycles, so he'd go, "Come on, Bill, you can go with me." And I was on the back of that motorcycle all the time. And I mean, I dropped it in the front yard and the driveway a couple times, showing my buddies how I could sit on this bike. I was just a little guy, and I'd pick it up, and that would be it. It'd fall over on me, but he didn't care. He was really cool. And so that was, I mean, that was just a natural thing, and I knew. And then what happened is his Harley got stolen, and I bought a Honda 450, and in 1971, and he rode it around a little bit. And one day he comes home. He said, "Well, I think I got another bike." And I said, "Really?" And he goes, "Yeah, I'm having some work done on it." Well, like about a week later, he comes home on the 750 Honda that's got saddlebags, and it looked like a Harley. And him and I rode, and we went riding every weekend. Him and I were riding. And I just knew that someday I wanted my son to and I to go for a motorcycle ride and ride, and that's what we did. And we rode. Him and I could outride everybody. And he's on here. You can ask him. We'd go ride with people, and after about 2 hours, they say, "Okay, well, you guys can way outride us," and they go the other way. And him and I just keep riding, man. We'd ride for 10 or 12 hours, and just all windy roads. And we had a great time. It was an awesome time.
And he was a good rider.
Yeah, excellent rider. I mean, one night we actually, after I built him that Springer Softail, the guy that owned Date Tech took it somewhere to get everything because I built it out of a bunch of scrap parts. I mean, I had a Springer that went like this. We did a lot of insurance work. I took it to this guy named Dr. John. He straightened it, didn't crack the chrome or anything, and we got that bike all put together and took it over there. And on the way home, I'm following him in the Corvette, and he's looking back, and he's kind of, "Hey man, check me out." Next thing I know, he's in the dirt driving down the side. And I mean, he's not regular dirt. This is like ba-boom, ba-boom, ba-boom. And all of a sudden, boom, I thought, oh, he's gonna go down on this bike. He hadn't even rode it. And boom, he pops out of the dirt. He's back on the road in front of me, and away he went. And we rode and rode. The only time, and Steve will remember this, we were going, there was like 4 or 5 of us riding, and we were going up the Grapevine, and there was like a giant hole in the slow lane. I told him, stay away from them truck lanes because the road's a mess. And he was over there passing, and he hit that, and I could see, I looked at him, and we were eyeball to eyeball, and I thought he was going to go down because I thought he was going to pass out. He pulled it together and we kept going, but it was pretty scary. Let's see. Steve, do you still ride? Trey wants to know. Sounds like me on my horses. I can ride them for hours, especially on the beach. Heaven.
Yeah, you can't ride a Harley on the beach.
Yeah, you can, but then you got to replace all your spokes. I had some guys went to San down there in Texas.
Oh,
San Padre Island. This guy comes back and he goes, "Hey, all my spokes are like rusted." I go, "Yeah? You ride through salt water?" Well, yeah. I go, "Well."
Did you rinse it off after?
I go, "Yeah."
Nope.
I go, "Yeah. Well, what do you want me to say?" You know, they're chrome, so I put stainless on it. Yeah, did knock the wind out of you. Maybe I wasn't the best rider, huh? Yeah, you were great. You saved yourself. As long as you don't crash, you're doing good. Yeah, Steve's last bike, this customer I had a cop bike. I think it was, what year was that, Steve? Like a 89 or 90 or something like that. And it was white, and it had, it looked like a cop bike. And it had the flashy lights in the front, but they were just, it wasn't ever used as a cop bike. He bought it as
competition or
yeah,
something.
through something. Anyway, it had the clear bulbs and stuff. So we got it. Steve didn't want me to make it. I was going to make it where they just stayed on. He goes, "Oh no, I like that, you know." So I figured out a way. I wired up a bunch of relays and stuff, and I made it so he could have it either or. He had a switch where he could have it where it was either on or they would do the blink, 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 and he thought that was cool because he used to try to pull people over on his motorcycle. We painted it all black and put a tur pack on it, and then I had a couple of Bush Tech trailers, and I gave him one of them, and he towed that, and I towed a Bush Tech trailer behind my my Road Glide. 97 Road King, yeah, that's what it was. And that thing, when I souped that bike all up, man, the guy had me do a bunch of work to that bike. He was a mega millionaire. He had a lot of money, and he loved the way I worked on his bike, and he just, what should I do? What should I do? And I'd say, well, I want more power. I want more of this. So I just fixed it up for him, and he loved it. And it got away from the bad things in life that you do. And I live a different life. And sobriety is a good thing for me. And yeah, but he knows, you know, I mean, I was pretty skillful with motorcycle riding. I was skillful, and with driving cars. I had a Corvette, and I could drive that Corvette pretty hard and do a lot of crazy stuff with it, and he liked to ride in it. So he got to see some of the stupid things that I do, and would do it again. But I wouldn't change anything because I think he learned a lot. He took his buddies out and showed them how to do the same thing in my Corvette. Hi, Steve.
Yeah, Steve, you should get on YouTube and tell the folks about your stories.
Yeah. I haven't been on 36. I haven't, but you know, like you say, a sports car. I used to tell a lot of my old customers, I'd say they want to make a trike. I'd say, that get rid of your motorcycle. Don't ride a tricycle. Tricycles are for babies. Go get you a nice car. Go get you a Corvette or get you a nice sports car or something, and you could take the top or the T-tops off of it or whatever, and you guys could just, you know, you have fun still. Take the wife.
Good night, Speedy 1995. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, we're going to sign off here in about 30 seconds. Anything else before we go? One quickie. This one's a lot faster.
Night, Mikio.
Good night, you guys. Hey, guys, we really appreciate.
Sure do.
We appreciate you guys coming on these.
Very much.
I know for sure we have probably about 50 or 60 people that are the really tight group in this, and really, that's what this is all about. Because honestly, a lot of the people that watch these videos just kind of live this lifestyle through us, and that's fine. I appreciate the fact that people want to do that. One of the problems for us right now is that we are working, and if you could hear how hard it's raining here right now, you know why we didn't do a video.
Almost the entire time we've been doing this video.
Yeah,
just
and it just makes it real tough to make videos during the day. When we're going to try to do that, but we like doing this too because we get reaction. It's great getting reaction. I mean, I hear all these guys talking about, you know, trolls and stuff like that. So far, I don't think we've had any problems.
But I always tell Bill, as soon as we get our first troll, we'll know we've arrived.
Yeah, yeah, I guess so. You know, back in the old days when I was about 80 pounds heavier, I would have went and found him and punched her face in. But at this point, I'm a new man, and I'm mellow. And you know what? Sticks and stones, they don't hurt me, and I just I'll just turn them out. You know, that's all I can do. I mean, it's a big world, and you know, if someday I come face to face to them, I'll take them over to Starbucks and buy them a cup of coffee and leave them there forever, because now you can stay forever at Starbucks. No
Just
politics tonight, huh? Just that.
It was really fun. I was getting married up there, but I made my wife puke.
Uh-oh, what? Oh, is that Highway 36? Yeah,
Oh,
I imagine,
oh.
yeah.
I bet.
Yeah. All right, good night, you guys.
Good
Thanks
night,
for watching.
Again, guys.
We'll
Appreciate it.
probably
We'll
do
see
this
ya.
again next Wednesday, and we'll try to
Seems
get
to
a
work.
video out if we can during the week.
Even through hockey games, old Pete. Thank you for tuning in.
Yep. Thanks again for watching. Good night.
Good night.